Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We're glad you all could be with us. Also, just tuning into our online affiliates around the world, we're glad that you all could be with us as well. We always are trying to remind you of what one person is able to do and how the importance of being able to pursue your goals and dreams can be able to benefit other people. Our next guest definitely knows that firsthand. We're excited to welcome Karen Phillips to our program today. Karen is an entrepreneur who's been able to do a lot of great things. We'll talk to her about that. She also, of course, is the owner of MidTech Training and Tutoring. We'll talk to her about how that business came about, what it's been like for her to service her community, and, of course, at the end of the segment, we'll let you know how to stay connected with her and all the great things that she's doing. Ms. Phillips, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, glad to do it. So I want to begin where we are today. What has it been like for you? As I said, you've been able to do quite a bit in your entrepreneurial journey. What has it been like for you to reflect, Ms. Phillips, on your career and all you've been able to do?
To be honest, it's very fulfilling for me. Educating adults has always been a passion for me. When I was in school obtaining my bachelor's and master's degree, I knew that I wanted to educate adults. I just wasn't exactly sure how I was going to do it at the moment. It was a lot of prayer and asking for guidance from God. So I knew that I wanted to educate adults. I just didn't know how I was going to end up doing it. So I did not foresee this business coming about. It all kind of just, happened as a dream and a prayer that was manifested into what it is today.
And I think that's the big thing. I talk to a lot of people, Ms. Phillips, as I'm sure you do as well as you're kind of doing the work you're doing. And one of the hardest things for people to do is to start. They may have the idea, they may know what they want to do, but actually getting started is the thing. Have you always been a person who knew that you were meant to do something? It was just about going about doing it.
Yes, exactly. I always knew that when you're younger, a lot of times they tell you go to school for this amount of time to be successful, get this type of degree to get this type of job. But it's not always that easy. I am very big on education, but school does not give you a guidebook for life. It doesn't help you to find out what your purpose is or even how to go about fulfilling that purpose. So I knew I was destined to help people. I just didn't know how it was going to come about, and some events had to take place in order for me to get the courage to step out and to do what I'm doing now. I work a full-time job for a very prestigious federally qualified healthcare center, but I also run my own business as well. So I feel like I'm giving back in both aspects. I think everybody always needs a second chance, and everybody needs, a little bit of help on how to attain their goals, because everyone doesn't always have the finances. I make my program very affordable. Everybody does not always have the finances or the guidance to fulfill their dreams. So I wanted to be able to be a resource for people.
And I think that's the big thing. I noticed when Mr. Thomas, Joseph Thomas, and shout out to him for setting up this chat with us for today, he tagged me on a post that you had made, Ms. Phillips, on Facebook. One thing I noticed is, your business is very people-centric. So I want to ask you this from an entrepreneurial standpoint, because it's, again, another, I think, great nugget for our audience out there. I think for us to be able to be successful in business, we have to know who our audience is. Who is it we want to be of service to? How did you decide that for yourself? How did you decide who you wanted to be able to serve through your business?
Well, I decided it by being from a small town. I'm from a small town, Yazoo City, Mississippi, small population. And one of the things that I noticed was, firstly, let me go back. I started as a program manager and a medical assistant trainer at a school here in Jackson, and I was also a massage therapist instructor for certain classes. And I started seeing the need there. I was a career development director for that school as well, so I saw how many adults were not very well versed in creating resumes or how to do resumes or how to do job interviews. So I started kind of giving back in that way. I started the first business as a resume writer. I started that business to try to give back. And then I started speaking to people that I was doing resumes for, what should I do next? Where should I go? I said, well, what kind of experience do you have? Well, I have this kind of experience, but I can't afford to go to school here. I don't have the time. I don't have a babysitter. And that kind of opened my eyes to a need for young black women, and not just women, but men also, that needed, a stepping stone on how to try to transition from one place in their life to another. So I created a mobile training company that I go to smaller rural areas such as Yazoo City that does not have a lot of resources such as vocational education resources, affordable training, things of that nature. So, and I've done classes in Yazoo City, Port Gibson, Belzoni, Mississippi, small places like that. So I wanted to try to reach those targets first, to give those people a chance to say, hey, I can do it too. I can obtain a certification. I can advance my career, and I can, further my education as well.
And so I love that. I love the fact that you not only saw a need, but also wanted to make sure that you were in a position, Ms. Phillips, to be able to help them fulfill that need. So when you see people benefit from what you've been able to offer, how does that make you feel to know the difference you're making?
It's so rewarding. I'm a person. I've always been a person that tries to help and service others in any aspect that I could. So, with giving God all the glory first, it's so fulfilling, and I thank Him a lot of days for molding me and putting me into a position where I could help people. Because to see people from the first day that I meet them, the level of education and training that they have, and where they are when they leave my program, or from me mentoring them, to see the growth in people and to see the things that they accomplish. I love to get a report from a past student to say, hey, I have a job here. I'm working at Macomb Hospital. I'm working for Quest Diagnostics. I'm working for this company. So it's very fulfilling, and it makes me continue to go, because being an entrepreneur is not easy. And there are a lot of days where I want to give up, and I'm tired, and I get a lot of no's and a lot of doors closed in my face. But when I get those kind of reports and positive feedback that they are accomplishing things and they are getting jobs, it's so rewarding, and it keeps me going.
Yeah. And I think that's a big lesson for our audience out there as well. I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Ms. Karen Phillips to our program today. Karen's talking with us not only about her own journey as an entrepreneur, but also what it's been like for her to be of service to her audience and to be able to see the response. So you just mentioned something else that I want to be able to talk about. Again, a great reminder and maybe some encouragement for our audience out there. Fear is one of the big things that stops so many people from doing something. What people are going to think. What if it doesn't work? What if I can't really do this? Was that something that you found yourself also having to deal with? And if so, how did you do it?
Yes, I was very fearful. I was fearful to leave a job that I was so passionate about, and I was so attached to my students when I was working at that school. I was so attached to them, and I was so used to the routine that I was in that I was afraid of change, and I was afraid of hearing no. Nobody likes to hear no. Nobody likes to feel rejection. But I just took my time, and I reached out to the lady that is over the Mississippi Commission on Proprietary Schools and College Registration. And she was very instrumental in helping me get everything approved and getting my program registered through the state of Mississippi. And she took the time to answer all my questions. If I sent in something that was not correct or that was incomplete, she took the time to explain to me what I needed to do, how I needed to do it. So just the fear of rejection is always there, and I still, deal with that this day, but I know that I have a purpose to fulfill, so I don't let the word no stop me. I don't let rejection stop me, because nothing fails, but a try.
Right. Social media, as I mentioned, Mr. Thomas had tagged me on a post that you had made, so you do use social media, Ms. Phillips, for your business. How did you decide how you were going to use it and to be able to reach the audience that you wanted for your business?
Well, I started using social media because, for one, at the time I couldn't afford to do, expensive marketing, and it's just being honest. I could not afford expensive marketing. I did not know exactly how to market it. I just knew that, if you put the right message out there to social media, even with my own personal Facebook page, if you put the right quote out there or the right message out there, you reach a lot of people. And I saw how many people I was reaching just with my resume writing, and I reached, that page has maybe 2,000 to 4,000 followers, and I've serviced people all across the United States, people that I've never met, and it's just from social media and word of mouth. So once I saw how successful that was, I said, well, this is how I'm going to do the MedTech training and tutoring. I just use social media. I don't pay anybody for marketing or to manage my Facebook page. I take care of all of those things myself, which I probably should delegate some duties to someone else. But social media has been very instrumental in the success of it and reaching people that I would never meet just on a daily basis.
So as you kind of look at that then, and you bring up another really good point, because I think a lot of times when people think of social media, they just think about, and there's nothing wrong, of course, for using it just to stay connected with family and friends and that kind of thing. But it sounds like you're very intentional in that. Is that something that evolved as well, or did you always know that because you weren't doing the traditional marketing, that was going to be one of the avenues you had to use?
No, it kind of just happened that way. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, because I started researching on marketing companies and I said, well, how do these businesses, have the time to, make pages and keep up with updates and doing this and doing that. And I just played around with it. I took the time to kind of do some things myself, and it's not perfect, but it gets the job done. So to answer your question, no, I didn't know that, social media would be my avenue of reaching people. It was just all I had at the time, and I knew that was an inexpensive way to reach, a larger platform.
Gotcha. You mentioned another thing, and then we're going to remind our audience how they can stay connected with you. Resumes, and that's, again, something that people may not think about. But, however, after the past year and a half that we have had, where jobs have shifted, people are changing, people are looking at new industries. Have you found that, especially since the pandemic began, that's been something people have been thinking more about their resume and how they're presenting themselves? Exactly.
Yes, sir. During the pandemic, the business, it slowed down for quite a while. There were a lot of people out of jobs. But once the world kind of started to open back up, the traffic started increasing. A lot of people were looking for different fields or different career transitions to go into. So, yes, I did see a very large pickup after the pandemic had, kind of slowed down a bit, which we're still experiencing it right now. But I have had a lot of people that are transitioning from one type of career or job to another one, to try to expand their horizons. And maybe the business closed, or maybe, they have not gone back off the layoff. So there are a lot of people that are looking, for stable income, stable jobs.
Right. So what about the what's next for you? You've done a lot. I asked you in the beginning of the conversation, Ms. Phillips, about the reflection of what you've done. What is it that you're looking forward to doing or expanding on in your business? I'm
looking forward to expanding to a permanent brick-and-mortar location. to where people can come to me. And, of course, I don't think I'll ever stop doing mobile services, but I would like to – my goal is to open a brick-and-mortar location to where I can, store supplies, have in a conference room. The post that Mr. Thomas tagged you in, I had just completed a graduation for 18 students. And that was a larger group for me, and that's how I know that the business is growing. I went from having 5 students to 8 students to 10, and this past group there was 18. So I want to be able to accommodate larger classes. I want to be able to hire staff. I have one phlebotomy instructor that works under me. She's a past student of mine, very, very good phlebotomist. She got her certification. And she is a very good people person, and she just has a good rapport with patients. So I have one instructor that works under me, but I would love to expand so that I can accommodate larger classes. I would like to add more programs under my belt. So I just want to grow and just be able to reach more people and help as many people as I can.
Yeah. What a great thing, and I know people are glad that you are doing just that. Again, everyone, Ms. Karen Phillips has been our guest. She's an entrepreneur, has been able to do some amazing work, including with our company, MedTech Training and Tutoring. Make sure you guys are being able to connect with her. And, Ms. Phillips, what is the best way for them to be able to do that?
The best way to reach me, the email for my phlebotomy training company is MedTech Training and Tutoring. That's MEDTECH, Training and Tutoring, all together one word. The Facebook page for the company is MedTech Training, the and sign Tutoring. And also, I can be reached by, well, I won't say by call, at least by text, because I do work a full-time job. So I can be reached by text at 601-940-7751. And I will definitely respond and reach out to whomever sends in an inquiry.
All right. Ms. Phillips, congratulations to you. So glad you and I had a chance to chat today, and looking forward to our next conversation together.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate the time.
Hey, glad to do it. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live.